Well, everyone, I am sick of not knowing specific numbers about how many people played AC Shadows, but that changes today. I'm also actually sick, as you can tell by my voice, but you know what? We have news breaking about how many people actually played and potentially bought AC Shadows, and we can infer from that how well it performed and whether Ubisoft is happy or not with its performance, blah, blah, blah. So let's check it out. For this video, we're gonna look at some leaked information that insiders at Ubisoft have shared with various journalists and outlets and stuff, like Tom Henderson with Insider Gaming and VGC, or Video Game Chronicle. They have gotten some sneak peeks at the behind the scenes data that only people within Ubisoft could see. And we're gonna compare that to what has been made public at this point as well from Ubisoft officially, because as we all know, you can't always take like as spoken truth what a company tells you when they're trying to like hype you up for something. But I think the main takeaway from this video is going to be that Assassin's Creed Shadows is performing significantly better than I think most people, including those within Ubisoft, were expecting. And I've even spoken to people within the company, and yeah, they all seem somewhat surprised at how well it's doing. So we're gonna talk about it. And don't worry, I'm gonna share with you specifics so that you can go from there. But first, thank you to our sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is the premium meal delivery service that delivers the ingredients you need to make fresh, chef-crafted recipes right in the comfort of your own kitchen. You guys know HelloFresh has been a longtime sponsor of the channel, and it's because me and my wife, and I guess our kids too, use HelloFresh all the time. We love it desperately and dearly because I, for one, really can't stand going to the grocery store. It drives me crazy. I don't like it. And so being able to have all of the ingredients you need for very nice, delicious, chef-crafted recipes delivered straight to your front door, it's brilliant. And once you get used to it, frankly, it's really hard to go back, just saying. So whether you need vegetarian meals, family-friendly meals, or something that's just quick and easy, HelloFresh has got it and is ready to deliver the ingredients to your front door, fresh every week. If you're interested, go to the link in the video description box below and use my code LukeMAR10 and receive 10 free meals and free breakfast for life, so long as you keep an active membership in the US. Again, check them out at the link in the video description box below. Okay, so the first thing to note is that the official Assassin's Creed X profile in all of their social media posted at 7 a.m. on March 22nd that in just 2 days, they had achieved 2 million players. No doubt that is a big number, and that's what you would hope to see for a franchise that is huge like AC. But the question is what 2 million players actually means. Does that mean sales? Well, absolutely not. If they meant sales, they would say sales. It means that 2 million players have engaged with the game, have booted it up, and that could mean family sharing, that could include giveaway copies, that could include all sorts of things like Ubisoft Plus and different subscription models that can get access to it. So it's not super clear exactly how many units have sold, but that's why numbers such as revenue that's actually been brought in, how much money it's actually generating, can be much, much more useful. And we actually do have some of that information, which I'll get to in a second, because we have gotten leaks as to how much money Assassin's Creed Shadows has actually made compared to Valhalla, Odyssey, Origins, and all of the other recent Assassin's Creed games. But first, Tom Henderson came forward and reported that according to his sources within Ubisoft, these are what the player numbers currently look like. So behind the scenes data via Ubisoft, Valhalla day one player numbers were at 2.55 million. 2.55 million players. Now remember, Valhalla launched in the middle of the dark times to stay YouTube friendly, and it also launched during the holiday season. It launched during a time where video games tend to do really, really well. So day one player numbers being so high was not particularly shocking. And even though I don't really like Valhalla, it without a doubt is the most financially successful Assassin's Creed game that has ever been released. It made over $1 billion. It was a huge success for them monetarily. Technically, more individual unique players have played Odyssey, which is interesting, but Valhalla has made the most money, so it's kind of set the bar. Odyssey day one player numbers were at 430,000. Now this is technically early access because they did an early access thing. I believe the official launch day, they had engaged 1 million players by that point. So roughly 1 million. This isn't super clear because again, it's early access, but it was about 1 million by actual launch day. And then Shadows, we only have official day 2 numbers. They did say on day 1 they had 1 million players, but we don't know if that's 1.2, we don't know if that's 1.0, we don't know if that's 1.9, we don't know. But day 2 they were at 2.2 million units. And this means that if you extrapolate expected player counts based on what Valhalla did after its first month compared to where it started, Odyssey after a month versus where it started, Shadows is actually on track to generate around 6 million players within its first month, with Valhalla having done about 8. Odyssey peaked at 3.4 million total players after its first month. So just player count wise, Shadows is doing significantly better than Odyssey did. And all of the reporting pre-launch for Shadows suggested that internal expectations were that it was going to do about what Odyssey did. All of the articles were internal sources say that Shadows is in line with Odyssey with pre-order numbers and all of that. But since launching, it's actually gotten really good word of mouth. People are recommending it. Clips are going viral on TikTok and Instagram showing cool things like the snow melting in real time. And that's making people try it who otherwise wouldn't have and are not plugged into like the internet drama around it. And so we've seen player counts continue to rise and engagement continue to rise. But all of this is kind of stupid and useless unless we know how much money is actually being made, because money is what actually makes the wheels go round. You can have 10 million players, but if nobody paid for your game, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how much money is being generated. And this brings us to the Video Games Chronicle article by Andy Robinson, and they have their own sources, similar to Insider Gaming, within Ubisoft, who have shared with them some specific revenue data. Revenue just meaning all of the money coming in. That means they're looking at the numbers from Ubisoft Plus, Connect Plus, whatever it's called nowadays, their subscription model where you can pay 18 bucks a month and get access to their whole first party library. They're looking at sales copies. Some copies you can get on sale for like 5-10% off already because they're just trying to get people to play the game. This looks, of course, at copies that people got for free as part of other bundled promotions or giveaways, and then it counts all the microtransactions that they might have engaged with. All of that stuff is included in these numbers, and this is the real meat and potatoes, because again, player count doesn't really matter if nobody's spending money. What matters is the money, and that's what they have. So to be specific, the article says, quote, according to further data seen by VGC, Shadows delivered the second highest day 1 sales revenue in the franchise's history behind only Valhalla, which not a huge shocker. Again, Valhalla was an exceptional game through and through. The fact it did so well, it launched at the perfect time, blah, blah, blah. But still, that is a remarkable number to have hit, especially if you looked online at like the discourse around Shadows. You would have thought that this game was headed for like an absolute ass whooping in the marketplace, but it really didn't. Like, it actually seems to be doing quite well. They continue, notably it did so launching in March when other series entries arrived during the more lucrative Thanksgiving season and did not benefit from the pandemic boost enjoyed by Valhalla. They also continue on, Shadows marked Ubisoft's best ever day 1 launch on the PlayStation Digital Store. Best ever, day 1 on PlayStation. It was the most wishlisted Ubisoft title of all time, and generated over 11 million watch hours on Twitch, the strongest start for any recent Ubisoft title, including Valhalla. Significantly, PC represented around 27% of total activations, which likely encompasses full sales and subscription downloads via Ubisoft Plus, with Steam playing, quote, a significant role in that performance. Isn't it crazy? Like, if you launch your game on the world's biggest PC gaming platform, your games will sell well. Like, isn't that crazy? But for years, Ubisoft didn't launch games on Steam. This was like a big move for them to bring Shadows to Steam day 1 instead of like a year later. But it's because like you got to meet players where they are. You can't just expect everybody to dump everything just to follow you to your proprietary launcher, which keeps logging me out every 10 seconds and keeps accidentally deleting my cloud saves. It's a separate issue. I'm bitter. I'm bitter at Ubisoft Connect because it deleted my cloud save for Black Flag, so I don't have my like super cool end game Black Flag save, and I have to start over. But maybe I'll just wait until the Black Flag remake later this year. Yeah, I did a video on that as well. Go links below, check it out. But yeah, they're making a remake of Black Flag. Anyway, continuing. But listen, what I've also heard, I've spoken to 3 separate people that work at Ubisoft in various positions, and what they've all communicated to me was that their bosses, who presumably have access to more specific data, their bosses are, quote, pleased, whatever that means, with the game's performance at this point. I've heard from other people, the higher ups are thrilled, are super excited, like, you know, typical mumbo jumbo you might hear from your bosses, but at the very least, they're not like freaking out about it. And as we found out more specific data, it seems that this is not just tracking with Odyssey, it is significantly outperforming Odyssey. It's not meeting Valhalla's numbers, but literally no one expected it to. Rather, it's outperforming a game which already was pretty financially successful in the form of Odyssey. So it seems to have somehow overcome all of the drama and stuff, and it's just a solid game. Stuff I would change, certainly, but it's not a disaster and it's not a flop. Now, is it enough to like prevent some sort of corporate restructuring at Ubisoft? No, I don't think so. I've said a bajillion times, I think that's written in the stars already. I think the years of mismanagement eventually come due. Like, even if you have one banging success, it doesn't undo years of mistakes. Again, Warner Brothers Discovery is a great example with Warner Brothers games specifically, where they for years mismanaged their portfolio of studios, of games, IP, and by the time that they had Hogwarts Legacy, the damage was already kind of done. So even though that made $1 billion, it didn't really matter because they had other stuff that was losing money elsewhere, and I think Ubisoft's in a similar position. They still need significant overhauls to management, they need restructurings, they need people to be promoted and demoted and fired and laid off, whatever. They need restructurings to get the company healthy again. And I'm glad that Shadows ended up being a pretty solid game, but it doesn't change the years of mismanagement. I don't think that that just gets hand waved away now, because again, we're not talking about gamers who are like now more confident in their ability to put out solid games. We're talking about investors. It's investors who are pressuring Ubisoft's board, who are pressuring Ubisoft's CEOs and executive suite. Those are the guys that you have to please, and they are not gamers. Like, they are only concerned with the business. They're only concerned with the bottom line and the dollars that are flowing in and out. And after years and years and years of billions of dollars being wasted, they're fed up. And so while Shadows is certainly a much bigger success than they were expecting, I personally don't expect it to really change the fate. And that's why even now we're hearing rumblings behind the scenes of continued meetings between Ubisoft executives with Microsoft and with Sony and with Take-Two, discussing potential like acquisitions of different IP, selling this IP over here and this one over there, and restructuring this company over here, and Tencent buys 50% of that and Guimont family owns 50%. We're still hearing all of that, and I think there still will be movement within Ubisoft, but no matter what, Assassin's Creed is here to stay, as if it was, I mean, it wasn't ever really in danger. But I still think the remarkable thing is, despite all of the drama, despite all of the scandalous craziness that went on with Shadows over the last 9 months or so, it actually is outperforming expectations. Which is crazy. It's crazy. But it really goes to show you, at the end of the day, gamers just care about games. Like, if you make a game that they connect with, that's technologically impressive, that's polished, gamers will reward you by buying your game, and they'll talk it up with their friends, and they'll tell their friends that they should try it out. And then you'll get more sales. Like, sometimes it really is as simple as that. Just make a good game that people connect with, and all the other drama kind of fades away. It just drifts off into the abyss. And those people that were raging about it will move on and rage about something else next. You know, the new Snow White movie's out. I hear that that's ripe for farming clips and drama. But I mean, even now, I'm sure in the comment section of this very video, you're seeing people that are saying, well, the concurrent player numbers aren't that high, and 2 million players doesn't mean anything. The game's still a flop. And if you are at a spot where like you cannot acknowledge that it's outperforming Odyssey, which was already, I mean, performing in line with Odyssey would have been like satisfactory as far as I understand it. They were hoping it would do about as well as Odyssey, but it's doing significantly better. By some estimations, as much as twice as well as Odyssey is doing in terms of revenue and in terms of player counts. And it's launching in March, not in the holiday season. And it had a massive drama campaign tied to it for 9 months. Like, It's remarkable. It just is. It just is. You don't have to like the game. You can hate the game. You can think the game is terrible. You can think Ubisoft is awful. That's all totally cool. But you gotta acknowledge reality when it's staring you in the face. And the reality just happens to be that Shadows, despite all of this, has outperformed expectations and seems to be doing quite well, which is wild. You know, is it enough to save Ubisoft or prevent corporate reshufflings? I don't think so. I think no matter how this game did, that would happen regardless. That's just my opinion based on my education in business, but maybe I will be wrong and they'll blow me away and surprise me. I don't know, but time will tell. But that's it for me. I'm gonna go drink some tea and let my throat rest a little bit. So thank you for watching. I appreciate every gosh darn one of you. As always, you guys are amazing. If you want a good shirt to remind you of one of the most important sayings in all of gaming, hype makes you stupid, I have it linked in my link tree down below. Also, shout out to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Until next time, my friends, much love. I'll see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.